All right, everyone. Welcome back to Flipping Every Stone Show. I'm going to be like your 10th grade English teacher when she's in the middle of trying to tell you the syllabus with eating my yogurt because it's like lunchtime, like late lunch, and all I've had today were like two sandwiches from 7-Eleven and a bowl of rice and like some tea that I made that I have no clue what's in it. Um, I'm looking a little scruffy, with the beard. Been letting it grow just like my hair on my head. Um, I don't know, man. Just seeing how it will look. I can't. It's kind of hard to tell. Like on, I don't know. We're gonna see. We're gonna see where it goes. Maybe give it another month or so. But yeah, it's funny. Like I think the last video I made was actually talking about like how I wanted to start posting more regularly, and I kind of disappeared for a while, right? I there's really been only like one reason I'd say, which like kind of be like the basis of this video, but not like completely necessarily, right? So, just a little background, right? I've always felt very like my theology, I'd say, of Christianity has always been very, I've tried to have it a lot like historically based, right? But never historically based in the sense of like Christianity history. It was like weird. It was always post Reformation history, which I know all of this is such a controversial topic on religion, and like I'm in no way a apologist. I'm sure there's a lot of probably Catholic and high mainline Protestant churches apologists of that branch that can probably make me look really retarded, right? Just because of course like I don't know of everything. Wait, I mean it's hard to, and I don't necessarily like, I think it's important to know, but I don't necessarily want to base my life off of like not arguing, but apologetics, right? I just don't really see. I think being knowledged in the faith is one thing, but then like trying to like argue, at least for me, I don't want to use my platform to like push this and like argue for it. I just say, okay, this is like what I've been studying, this is what I've been researching, this is what I've been experiencing, right? So more with that. Ever since really December, so over what is it now? September, August, what month is it? It's August. So what's that? May, June, July, August. 8 months, right? When I was in Italy, in Rome, right, I was studying a lot of like just Catholicism because I see everything there in Rome and I'm like, looks way different than the Christianity back home in America, right? And it kind of led me more into the early church history and a lot of things that they believed in. I'm like, whoa, these things are a lot different than like what I've been taught or like how I've been brought up in like non-denominational churches and whatnot. And this isn't at all like bashing any of that denomination or anything, right? But it also led me into studying a lot of Eastern Orthodoxy because again, as an American, never even heard of it. Had no clue what it was. I just knew they had the different cross, right? I'm like, oh, that's a weird looking cross. Had no clue what it was, all this, right? So that kind of fizzled out, right? I would study, but it was just more of like I don't know. It was just more like of history. I think I wanted to use it more to just seem knowledge, but not really apply it to how I walk out or live out my faith or anything like that. So that's kind of where it stood. And then I moved here to Thailand, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I can't just sit here with my Bible anymore. Just sit here and read my Bible and live my life. Like it's not. There's so many things that like I can't fully understand in the Bible, or like I can almost feel myself slipping. Give me a second. I'm starving. Hold on. Almost feel myself slipping into like my own interpretation of whatnot. And I'm like, yeah, this is like a problem, right? So I got back on like the whole history thing. Like, and I've always liked history, but like, how did early Christians walk out and live their faith? Which I know is a lot different 2,000 years ago or 1,500 years ago, even 1,000 years ago. Long time ago. But the principles of it, I believe, should still stand today, and we can learn a lot from how these early Christians lived their life and apply them to our life. At the end of the day, We're worshiping the same God, right? We're following the same Bible to almost like to the same extent, with the exception of a couple books. Um, but yeah, so I'm like, okay, there's a lot of like areas in my life, not like crazy bad or anything, but like I don't feel like I'm living as close to Christ as I could possibly be. Not be perfect, but there's a lot of improvement that I could make, right? So that kind of led me down that. And then I discovered the Eastern Orthodox Church here in Bangkok. It's actually a Russian parish, like a patriarch of Russia. So it's a Russian Orthodox, but that falls under the umbrella of Eastern Orthodox. And I'm like, I've been studying Eastern Orthodoxy a lot. I'm starting to agree a lot more on Eastern Orthodoxy. And again, if anyone even watches this video and they have something to say about Orthodoxy, or you're more than welcome to point it out in the comments, and I'm always open to studying more things. Um, Same with Catholicism. Like, I'm very not like oh, this is why Eastern Orthodoxy is right and everything else is wrong. Like, it's not that. It's just, and I also don't believe it's like a personal thing. Like, oh, well, this church just makes me feel this way, right? But to the conclusion that I've came to, I guess it is a personal conclusion, right? Is that I know, um, I want to keep pursuing my faith in the Eastern Orthodox Church, which leads me to kind of why I've like disappeared for a while from making videos, is just because I've felt really not like called, because I don't think you have to put like a God twist on everything, like, oh, I felt called to do this, but just like personally, I didn't feel like I was in the best state to be making videos or sharing things publicly about my faith, just because it was at such a turning point of where, okay, there's a lot of things that I used to believe and used to say and used to write about, that, oh, denominations don't matter, church isn't that important, oh, it's just a relationship, religion isn't important, all this, that I've very, very, very quickly changed my mind on. So I'm like, I'm in this transition stage, and still currently still am to an extent, where I'm like, okay, I don't think I need to be making videos right now. I think I need to be focusing my time towards Eastern Orthodoxy. Is this really the path I want to go? Explaining, or not explaining things, but learning things. Attending the Divine Liturgy on Sundays, which I have been for a month or so now. Inquiring about catechumen, speaking with the priest, being a part of the church, growing in the community, everything like that, which I have been doing. So now I feel like I'm almost at a point where, like, I mean, I know, like, next Sunday, after liturgy and after like we all eat food together and everything, like everyone at the church, which I'll touch on the specific church in a minute. But the catechumen classes, which I've been attending, just like inquiring. But next Sunday, I'm actually going to like, we write letters to the bishop of the whole, I believe it's Southeast Asia, of all the Eastern Orthodox churches in this like local area. Well, not local area, but Southeast Asia. Like, I think it covers Japan, Vietnam, Bangkok, or Thailand. Like, just the bishop that oversees everything, and then be like confirmed into the Eastern Orthodox catechumen with the prayer before liturgy on the next Sunday after that. So now that I feel like I've actually made a decision where I am going to be entering the Eastern Orthodox Church, I think now I'm at more of a place where I can somewhat talk about it, because I'm not in a place. Hold on, man, dude, I'm telling you, I have like a shared debit card with my dad that he puts money into every month at the beginning of every month, and I had to use a lot of it for like my student visa here. So I'm like short on, not short on funds, but like I'm running low, and I have to wait a little bit for like the first of the month for the new money to go in. So I've just been trying to eat like really. It's probably a good thing, eating humbly and less anyways, but anyways, yeah, I feel like I'm not in a transitional stage anymore, where I'm like, I'm not inquiring about it. Of course, I'm still learning. I'm not gonna act like I'm some super high knowledgeable, the greatest apologetics of Eastern Orthodoxy in the world. Um, but I do disagree with a lot of my old personal opinions. Certain things, like important things, like baptism and the Eucharist and whatnot like that, which I know are very, very, very baseline disagreements. But um, yeah. So now I just feel like I'm more in a state where it's not something that I'm just inquiring about. It's actually something now I'm going to be implementing into my life, which I know is not like important to tell or just speak about it. But another thing that kind of stuck out to me, and I don't think that you should always get all of your information just from YouTube or anything. I think going to the parish like I did and actually being a part of the community and talking, especially with the priest, is the most beneficial thing you can do. And he told me, right? Because like, of course, I asked him like, okay, like how do I explain to like my family and my friends and relationships and this and that, like through this process, how can I like talk, not talk them through it, but not seem like I'm coming from a place where I'm like, oh, well, like I'm turning to something that's right and you're wrong, and you have to accept the way that I'm doing this, but out of a place of just explaining on a very surface level what it is. And like, for example, my mom like freaks, not freaks out, but like she don't understand what Eastern Orthodoxy is at all. She don't really think it's Christianity. She asked if they were going to have a Buddha on the stage because I'm in Thailand. She asked if like if I join the Eastern Orthodox Church, like am I will I be able to leave? Like just like very unknowledged. And even with me like trying to explain the little bit that I do know, still didn't really like compute with my mom. So asking the priest like like how do I go about this? And he said to not focus so much on explaining it or explaining the differences or talking or defending it. Just live it. Just live it out. Literally just like sit back, like explain to your parents or whatever, say yes, like if they ask you about Christianity, yes, this is the path I'm going down, this is the new church I'll be attending. Um Certain things like you can express how you feel about them, or how the Eastern Orthodox Church would like feel about things, but ultimately don't make it a point where it's like a constant debate. And I feel like in a lot of areas of my life it turned into a constant debate where I, well, that was kind of my bad, that was kind of sudden, where I was not doing my best at all because I I think I come from a past of Christianity where I really like to be argumentative. I really like to prove, okay, I'm right. I'm always right. Especially about Christianity, where I tried to study so much and just to prove people wrong, which was horrible, right? And I think like out of humbleness, I can recognize that there is still a tiny bit of that in me. So in certain situations, I'd be talking to people or whatever close to me and whatnot, and I would like I know deep in like in my heart and in my head, like I'm like, okay, like I don't want this to turn into a debate. Like I don't want this to turn into me being right or the other person being wrong or whatever. But like a little part of me would always try to like overly explain or like not bash because it wasn't out of hate or anything. I just wanted to like I guess like not prove what I know. I don't know. It was very prideful and cocky of me. So I took what the priest said and also examining how I was towards certain people, like okay, like just argumentative and confrontational in a sense. Where I'm like, okay, like I just need to step back, right? And I think that's at the part where I'm at now with like family and friends and whatnot, where we can express our differences, but I think I think the way that you can best accurately describe what you genuinely want to practice in your life is just by living it out, right? So I think I'm at a point where I can make videos again and start talking about certain belief changes and this and that, but also do more on the inside where it's just like an actual changing of my life and how I live my life, right? Which isn't like some crazy thing, but I also do believe it's lifelong. Um, So yeah, I'd say there's that part. Um, I think the whole motive that made me want to make this video, um, was that I would just to talk about how I've been feeling with certain things, right? Not like depressing or anything like that, but when I feel like I'm on social media a lot, right? Like on Instagram and stuff, because I'm waiting for my student visa to go through so I can start taking classes. Muay Thai is only like 3 hours in the afternoon, so I have a lot of free time. And oftentimes I would consume things on social media where it was like always about like war and other religions taking over and political corruption and money corruption and this and that. And I feel like sometimes, I know this sounds like I'm speaking out of the matrix or something, but like I feel like sometimes the algorithm is so tailored to just pump whatever narrative they want into, onto social media and everything like that. And I'll just make sure I'm recording. Um, I think I'm recording. I don't know. I am recording. I was looking at the live stream thing and it said 0 seconds. I'm like, I'm not recording. Anyways, yeah, I think sometimes things can just get pumped into whatever's true or whatever's false, right? You see these videos of just bad war, political stuff. Like I just said, like a lot recently, like with certain Muslim things and this and that, which like yeah, you can like identify where corruption is, but how I've been feeling recently is it's such a weight on my shoulder to always thinking about politics and what am I gonna do when I get back to the United States and what if Christians keep getting persecuted or what if a war breaks out and what if this and what if these uh all these political things. My can't tell. No, I think it's fine. Um, just all these different things, right? That I could be worrying about. Where I've been at recently is like, I think I should not think. I know. Why don't I just take the time that I spend worrying or consuming things on Instagram and looking at these reels of people in war and it's good to be knowledge of these things, but for it to consume your time, why not just spend that time, especially now converting to Eastern Orthodoxy, how much more of like a devotion I'd say I have to praying a lot more, or researching more, studying more, watching videos that like can make you learn something, right? So I guess that's like the mini part that made me want to make this video is how I think people a lot of times and like I'm very against like Christian nationalism, especially like back in America, like, oh, like America just needs to be this one big giant Christian place and it has to be Christians versus this. And, like, I do think Christianity has all the morals there to be taught and whatnot. And there's a fine line. I think it's kind of hard to speak about like defending with war and stuff over Christianity and whatnot. I don't think the way that the Crusades happened was like good, like how some parts of the West like say, okay, well, like if you fight the war with the Crusades against Islam, you'll you have no more. You don't need that's your indulgences. You don't need to do any indulgences, um, which is kind of iffy to me, like inspiring people to do the wars just so they get that out of it. Um, but yeah, it's just I just think there's a lot. I think people too much sometimes try to focus on Christianity and they maybe use it as like a political platform or they try to use it too much where they speak about it so much but sometimes they don't necessarily live it or they'll use it Christianity only to attack a different religion or a different denomination of Christianity where it's just like it all goes back to what my priest said, dude, just like stop talking about it. Just live it out. Spread it where you can. Defend it if someone comes up to you and starts attacking it. Um, but other than that, just live it out humbly. Just be with the Lord. That's like my main goal is to stop worrying about the war or using Christianity as like a war tactic or religion and all these things and the just however much corruption is in the world. I try not to like look into specifics, but there you can find it if you look very easily. You can find very specifics on certain corruption and presidents and this and that and oh my gosh, who are we gonna elect and oh but the president did this and Epstein did this and that and oh AI is gonna take over this. Man, stop worrying about it. Like you not and I'm not saying not worry about it because it's like natural, but like yes, be aware. Don't just be a sheep and But like that's the thing. Don't have your horse blinders on to Christianity. In my opinion, just don't just I feel like we can focus so much as humans to focus on the negative narrative and like I've been repeating war and corruption and other religious powers and all this and that where we often forget just to devote our life to it. To me, at the end of the day, I'm one person living in Thailand. I have no control over what Palantir AI does. I have no control over flock cameras being implemented into America. I have no control over, I mean, to an extent, but like my vote isn't gonna tip the needle on Republican or Democrat, right? I have no say really in any of this. Why would I not just focus that time towards religion? I don't know, but it's something I'm realizing in my life where I think I need to stop that mindset of overly worrying about all these things. And I think a lot of, and I'm not only singling out Americans because everyone could really do it, but I think a lot in America too, like, hey, maybe stop just using this as a platform. Stop using religion as a political label or like oh, America is Christian. Yes, a place can be predominantly Christian, but I don't think like a Christian nation. That's the whole point of the church. I feel like the unity is there, not like within a nation to where you can just use it to like support war or to do this and that. Have your government, have your politics. Um, if you're Christian, openly express you're Christian, sure. But at the end of the day, just live it out. That's like kind of my whole opinion and take on all of it with just how whoopsie daisy. Just how kind of wild the world is right now. And seeing it from like a an outside perspective, me being here in Thailand, it's like I don't even know to what extent how bad all of this stuff is because again, I'm the furthest, almost the furthest away you can get from the United States right now. Mm. But and even like even outside of political things, which this can just go back to just main problems of Christianity in general, is like um just people focusing on the wrong things in general. Living life, the college experience, relationships, money, and all that. I'm not saying you have to become like a monk or anything like that, but like I think when the sole purpose of our life is anything but Christianity, there's no point to even have that label anymore. Like I don't think it's necessary, and I'm guilty of this, and I probably will be multiple times again for the rest of my life. Um, followed by repentance, God willing. But like I don't know. I'm in no place to point out or judge, so I'm not even gonna make that statement. Um, yeah. So I guess I'll talk about the church here I've been going to. It's a Russian Orthodox Church, Saint Nicholas Russian Orthodox Church. So I guess every like Orthodox parish has like a patron saint that like is of the church, and that's Saint Nicholas. I think there's actually a relic of Saint Nicholas. There's also a relic of Mary Magdalene, which is actually super interesting. I'm not sure if she's a saint or not. That's why I didn't like say she might be, she might not be, but I don't want to like no disrespect if she is for not calling her a saint. I'm not sure if she is or not, but she might be. Um, I'm assuming she is if they have a relic of her. Yeah, so it's just the most diverse community of people I have ever met, right? So one of the priests, Father Elect, he's got to be from Russia. I believe he's Russian. And then there's Father Paisi, which is like the priest that like does the catechumen classes and stuff, and he's Moldovan. And then Father Micah, I believe he's Thai. But it's so interesting to see a primarily Russian Orthodox parish in Thailand and have so many Thai Orthodox Christians. And then on top of that, like there's only two other Americans there other than me. There's this guy named Forrest, He is from California, I think. And then there's another guy. I think his name's Sebastian. He was like from New York or something, I think. But like other than that, like there's Russians. There's this one man from Nigeria. There's this one woman from Pakistan. There's so many Europeans. There was a South African, and it's just crazy. And then the Thais, like they do the liturgy, like parts of it, and I'm sure I don't understand the full extent of what all happens during the liturgy, but they do it in like Slavonic, I believe, which is like a kind of like a dialect of Russia. I might be mistaken. And then in English, and then also in Thai. So they also have a Thai choir that like sing hymns in Thai, and then they do it in Slavonic too, I believe is the language, and then English. It's just such a melting pot of cultures, and it's really interesting to see how all that's brought together. Um, but yeah, the parish itself is really pretty. You stand the whole time, which isn't really something I've been used to, but I do think it makes you more attentive, and it makes you more it like makes it less like a you're standing for the rock concert at your local Christ Fellowship Church in America or something, right? And then you sit down. It just to me, I think it makes you more attentive and more like not disciplined, but it's not where it's not for like your entertainment. It's definitely not like an entertainment thing at all. Like it's not. Yeah, of course it can make your emotions provoked, but it's not like meant to provoke emotions as in like, oh, that message really just touched me and really hit me, and oh, the pastor's so charismatic. A lot of it they just read straight out of the Bible. Like I honestly probably think 80% of the liturgy is sung or chanted from the Bible. Like I know they do a like obviously like the creed, the Lord's prayer, um they do like an epistle, a gospel, and then they do a sermon which normally we sit just on the floor and it's maybe about 15 or 20 minutes where the priest gives like an actual message, I'd say, but it's very like biblically based, and the incense and communion and all the icons. It's just very different. Whew. Very different than like what I've been used to. But I really don't think I'd want to be anywhere else or like want to be continuing my faith anywhere else. I think ultimately I've been led to orthodoxy for a reason. I've been obviously like inquiring and stuff about it for a long time, learning slowly about it, so I have so much to learn. But yeah, I guess that's. I actually had a video recorded that I never uploaded because like I just recorded it one day and then I think I was like late to go to like Muay Thai or something, so I was like, oh, I'll upload it later. I never did. I don't even remember what it was about, low key. Um, but yeah, no, I just never. I haven't really felt like I've been in the best place to like record on the topic of my faith recently, really up until now because I kind of just recently made a decision. Maybe I kind of knew in the back of my head for like a month or so, like a month and a half or a month or two, where I was like, okay, like Eastern Orthodoxy, like it's definitely not something I'm just like learning about anymore. It's actually something I'm considering, and I honestly think day by day it went from less of something I'm just learning about and more of something that I'm actually considering converting to, which has led me to the decision that I'll be making on Sunday. So there's that. I guess on Sunday I will officially be a Eastern Orthodox practicing Christian. Um, I'm trying to think of like some maybe maybe I'll be able to the next video I'll form more like notes and actually like study based things on like what I used to believe and what I do believe, but I also feel like I just need to live it out in my life more. So where it's not turning into just a confrontation where it's like, well, I used to believe this and here's where it says it's wrong and here, and then this early church father said this and Polycarp said this and Ignatius of Antioch said this, and it's like I don't want it to turn into like a like I'm just sitting here and according to this document on this date, this said this, which contradicts what I used to believe. It's just like I don't want it to really turn into that. I think that would shatter my humbleness that I'm trying to attain a lot faster, a lot easier. Um, Yeah, I think that's just kind of where I've been at, just like trying to seek humbleness in it and also like know, okay, it's different. Like it's okay if some things are different. Like of course, like just because it's different don't instantly mean that it's wrong or something like that. Um yeah, but like humbleness is pretty important to me, especially like noting the background I've had with just trying to like literally probably some of my worst arguments with like my family, like mainly my dad. So me and my dad are like this. We're tighter than two ass cheeks. I don't even know. But like most of our arguments always started over like a Christian debate, and it never actually turned out or ended in the way Christ I think would want. Like I always one thing I've always remembered from the Bible is be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. And I was the exact opposite. I was so slow to listen and very quick to speak and quick to anger. Like I was like not having any of it. Regardless if I was right or wrong, I went about it in such a wrong way, which I think I don't think people realize how much their actions show like um about what they believe. Like I don't think too many people think like, okay, you're actually representing like what you're saying you base your life and live your life for. You're representing it horribly. And I think you can see that with a lot of maybe I'm not getting into specifics, but high political figures or people that say, "Oh, yeah, I value my life for Christ, this and that." And then some of their actions, I'm not saying that everyone has to be perfect, but a lot of their actions point nothing towards it. That's why I think like talk about it like on a lower level degree, but dedicate your time to actually living it, not just talking about it. I think that's the most important thing we can do because then it gives people a good representation. I know you can never truly know, oh, this person's a really solid person. You can't just tell by, oh, they donate money to the poor and oh, they do this and oh, they're good people. But like you can tell sometimes like if someone and again, I don't know how anyone's going to be judged. I'm not God. I'm not going to play God's role. Um but I think if we focus more on okay, I want to make a good example for because I truthfully believe a lot of the reasons why people either hate Christianity or put no interest in it or just dislike it or turn away from it is because they see it being misrepresented. Me being a very bad example of that or like good example of that in my past and probably times in the future, I'm sure I will be too, where I'm not representing Christ in a good way at all. And it's very severe when you put a religious tag on something and then you don't live it out like at all. Like that's so I think that's very dangerous. Um, very, very dangerous to me. So that's also something I've just been trying to like practice where I think all of it really comes back to being humble, right? To just know that like, okay, like, hey, I'm saying I want to live my life for this and base my life around it. Act like it. Don't take it lightly because then also someone can look at it and it can completely turn them away from Christ. You never know. But what's that 30-minute long video? I don't know. I don't know about the beard. I'm not sure. It's funny because this part, I normally would always just shave all this and leave this little like chin part and then my mustache. So this part looks like way darker because it's been growing for like twice as long as all this. But this has only been growing for like this maybe 2.5 months or so. This has only really been like trying to look at it and also get the camera. This has only been growing for me like a month or so, but who knows? Maybe I'll keep it. It has nothing to do with orthodoxy either. I started like letting kind of all this grow before I like really started like debating it. Um, I don't want people. Oh, you're Eastern Orthodox trying to grow a beard. You're trying to become a monk. Like, no, man. I've never really. I've always let this grow, but I've never let any of this grow. And I thought, you know, just let it keep growing. I need to shave this, shaping it up, but who cares, bro? Who cares? I don't care what I look like. Not really. Um, yeah. I think that's about it. But yeah, I think it's really easy to get really caught up on the ways of the world and want to just prove or search up, oh, well, there's corruption here and I shouldn't support this person because, and I'm not saying blindly just like, okay, if you're passionate or in politics or whatever, like, yeah, of course, do your research and whatever if you want to, but like, I think it's very easy for that to consume your life and for it to be like a number one problem on your agenda. Same with like money. Of course, you have to have money, especially if you have a family or anything like that, or bills or responsibility, which fortunately I don't have. Um, you know, but it should not be like a. I just don't think anything should be your like priority focus. Not in a way of like, okay, like I got to get my crap together. I got a car payment. I got to make some money. Not that, but where it's like more and more and more, and like that's all you're like striving for. I guess would say where I think that's like a negative. And I think sometimes people can maybe think they'll find comfort if they overly research or if they overly worry about a political system or something or a war going on and what side do I support and this and that. It's like you can be neutral and just like say, okay, this is like secondary. I'm gonna put Christ as my first pillar of worry there, which I think prayer can help a lot. Just but I think ultimately it just turns into when you take Christianity more than something than you just show up on Sunday, right? And I'm guilty of that too, or guilty of not living it out or not following the way Christ would want me to live. I'm not at all saying that you have to become perfect or I'm going to be. Um yeah, there's that. There's that. Yeah, Muay Thai. Sounded like a car wreck. Um got Muay Thai probably in about an hour and a half or so. But yeah, probably just gonna watch over this video, get her posted. I don't really feel like making any reels or anything like that. I could care less. It's not that important. But yeah, it's been the Flipping Every Stone show, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.